how should we choose service providers and select partners with quality assurance?
Oh, thank you. Hi everyone, nice to be here. So I'll kick off on that. It's an interesting question, and throughout my career and the last 10 years as a consultant, I've worked with a number of organisations to assist them in that. I think the fundamentals are you have to look at how we all live our lives, basically, on an element of trust. We want to collaborate and we want a long-term partner. All too often I feel, and I've seen and witnessed, that choosing a partner is being driven predominantly on a lot of occasions by a procurement process within a setup or an organisation. So I think the first thing is, for clients, you need to really think about who you want to partner with. And a bit like selecting an individual for a job, all too often we shortlist a number of service providers, big or small, and we get down to 4. And at no point has anyone really gone out, they say they do, and talked to other clients that those service providers are actually administering services for. But you do it with an employee, you'd go and take references, you'd have a look around. And then you get to the preferred bidder. And it's been driven down a route that's basically a lot of the time on costs and time and what the perceived value of that service provider will be over the length of a given contract. So I think we need to be thinking as an industry and clients and consultancies like myself to help people to look at the whole process in a slightly different way and really look to see who you actually want to partner with and do they fit with your organisation, which I don't think is thought of. Right?
I think it's really interesting when you find long-term partnerships. If you all ask yourselves when working with other companies that you work with, whether this is your supply chain or your clients, it'll be the ones that you like, who act in a similar way to your organisation, that have the same cultural principles, the same ethos. And what people forget is, sending an engineer with a spanner to a boiler, anybody can do that. That should be a given, and that's what we do in procurement. We're checking competency and accreditations and all those types of things. But choosing a partner that you're going to make a positive impact with means you've got to have someone you can trust, who's going to act the same way as you can actually check strategy with and engage at the senior level to give you foresight so that you create that long-term vision. So for me, it's the same way that I recruit. It's a great point. I look at CVs, they're wonderful, but it's more about how does someone behave? What's their attitude like? Do they mimic how I am? Can I see myself having informal chats? Because often in business we really raise formal communication, escalation plans and all those things, but the nitty-gritty comes down to when there's a problem, it's about whether you can communicate informally and solve something together. So for me, it's about relationships with people.
Yeah, I echo that, of course, and being a client, and primarily my own service provider, I'm kind of service provider and client in my current role. Shared values, I think, is enormously important. Our business has sustainability at its heart. We want to partner with like-minded companies, whether they're a service provider, whether they're running diesel engines or electric engines, or their ethos and their shared values that they have with us and aligning with our values is important to us. So that would, your point about procurement, that's further down the chain, finding the right partners. Not just about maintenance, but improvements, again, slightly specific to my role. It's not just about maintenance, it's about improving the performance of our existing buildings. And who's going to share those values, who's going to help me get my EPC ratings to a B, etc. And so on. We're running 70s buildings at just at a B. So it's about really the shared values, because I think if you've got a progressive supplier who shares your values, you're much likely or more easily achieve your objectives.
Thank you, man. Just wanted to come in there, and we're absolutely right in what we're saying, but I have noticed in my experience as well that a lot of potential service providers will, and I speak frankly, sell the dream to clients, sell the dream. And there's been many occasions when I or members of my team have had to go in because the relationship has broken within 6 months of signing a contract. And that's a real problem, because everyone in this room knows the cost, the expense and time if we're talking about outsourcing a TFM or a hard or a soft contract. And it's broken because we're not quite getting the bits at the beginning right. And if you take it back again to just how you live your life, don't let your ambitions outweigh your capabilities. And some FM providers, some of the big and smaller companies will sell a dream, and the minute the ink's dry on the contract, they're not delivering the dream, and they're not delivering the very basics. You need to deliver the basics, and then you should be having that collaborative outlook with your partners about strategic objectives built into the contracts, not a cash saving on day one. No one can expect any company to come in and suddenly make a huge saving for anyone. It's unrealistic, and clients that expect that are never going to get that. But if you get the relationship right at the beginning, you get the procurement right, you get a partner who's on side and fits in with your ethos, and you build in strategic objectives that over the life of a contract, and let's be honest everyone, how often in this country, the people working here, do we see that a contract signed, within a year, that client is just waiting to get rid of the service provider. It's 3 years, it's 5 years, and we go round this ever-decreasing circle of outs and round we go. In other parts of the world, they're more selective, and some of their partnered FM companies are there for 15, 20 years, and they do a fantastic job, and they become integral to the business, to the core business. And I think as an industry, we need to think about that, we need to educate ourselves, and we need to educate the clients as to getting better value from them.